What is the value of one idea anyway? Let me tell you about the Cashflow Diary Founders Membership. Inside, what you will receive are my diary entries. These are video entries that catalog my mistakes as they happen. We're talking about as I go through a learning curve and what I learn, why I learn it, the mistakes, the good, the bad, the ugly that comes out of it, you get to participate in as well, right along with me. Additionally, we're talking about exclusive content. What about those interviews with my team? The individuals that you guys wonder, how does Jay do all that? Well, it's not because I'm superhuman, it's because I've got a superhuman team put together. And wouldn't you like to know what makes them tick? Why do they do what they do? How to find your own team, how to compensate them and make it work for you? Additionally, you're gonna be the same today and tomorrow, except for two things: the books you read and the people you meet. Many of you already know about our Cashflow Diary podcast at cashflowdiarypodcast.com. But what you don't know about are the books I read and the lessons that are being learned as I go through them. And our Cashflow Diary Founders members have access to that. And then the super special bonus: Cashflow Diary 101 training. So you wondered, how do I use this board game to go out there and influence the lives of others, build my business, and make things happen? Well, it's the Cashflow 101 board game, and I'm going to show all of our members exactly how it's done. And if that wasn't enough, you get special discounts on all your future purchases. That is absolutely worth $47 per month. I look forward to seeing you inside. Until next time. Hey guys, gals, people of all ages, glad that you're here. I still love that song. It's awesome. Anyway, as I see, yes, it is my ringtone. For those of you, you're like, wow, is it that serious? It absolutely is. So if you call me and I just, it goes to voicemail, it's because I'm bobbing my head. That's really what happened. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Q&A with Jay. I am Jay, and I'm here to answer your questions as best I possibly can as it relates to single-family houses, multifamily houses, commercial real estate investing, industrial. I don't really care. The point is that I'm here for you to answer your questions, whatever they may be. We have people who have sent in questions ahead of time. Hopefully, if you are one of those, you will get your question answered today. I know that I promised one person in particular who's a part of our Raising Private Capital group to answer a question as it relates to a deal that she's in the middle of working on or looking at working on. And I want to make sure that we definitely invest a significant portion of time for that. Some of you, if you're looking, you're probably here because of this that we talked about, where you get the opportunity to win. We're going to be telling who you are. Hopefully you are watching live and you can come on down you are the next contestants on the Price is Right. Yeah, that doesn't quite work like that. The point is, we're going to be giving away one of those, well, 3 of those devices today to 3 individuals to whom I don't know. We'll do our best to get in contact with you if you're not watching live. And right now, I'm sure some of you are wishing you entered more. Oh, well, it is what it is. A couple of things that I just want to make sure that everybody had a safe time when it comes to Halloween, and you've got more candy than you probably need. And the good thing is that at the end of the day, all that matters is that you've had lots of friends, lots of fun, your kids had fun, and hopefully the family as well. So here's the thing. One of the things that I want to do is I'm just excited to give stuff away. So what I've got is I've got a special little helper who's going to come, and so that way you can't blame me. If your name's not picked, it's not my fault, okay? So you have to have the guts to blame this person for not picking your name, okay? So there's nothing I can do about it, okay? So what I want you to do is watch your feet. Good job. Excellent. So what we've got here is Jordan. Say hi. Wait, you did? Yeah, there you go. They can see you. So right there. Yeah, excellent. So here's what I want you to do. You see those things? What's that right there? You see that on the screen? What's that? Is that a pen? Yeah, you see Daddy's pen? What's that in the middle? iPad. It's an iPad, that's right. And what's that on the end? iPhone. An iPhone, that's right. She's whopping 5, and she knows what an iPad and iPhone are. She could probably actually fix yours if it's broken. Anyway, here's what I want you to do. All of these people entered into a contest to win. And you know what you get to do? Yeah. You get to pick the name of the winner. Does that sound like fun? Yeah, okay, cool. So I need your help. All right, so pick a good one because they are hoping that you pick their name. All right, can you do that? All right, ready? Pick one, just one. All right, let's see who that is. Ooh, can you say that? No? Bill Collier. Yeah, Bill Collier. Excellent. Hopefully Bill is watching. Hopefully we have your email address and contact information. If not, so that we can make sure that we get in contact with you. You won your choice of an LiveScribe 3 Pen, iPad 2 Air, 16 gigabyte Wi-Fi only, and iPhone 6 Plus. All right, so 2 more times, okay? You ready? Yeah. All right, here we go. Pick one. Who's that? Ooh, look at that. Can you say it? Say William Burdine. Burdine. Good job. Way to go. William Burdine. So far we have Bill and William. That's kind of funny. Let's see who wins next. Let me mix it up. I don't know if anyone else, if your name is Bill or William or some derivation thereof, you probably have a good shot right now. Let's see who else we get. All right. Oh, hold on. All right, you ready? All right, pick it. And what's that one? Can you read that one? Say Jill. Chef. Say congratulations. Congratulations. Yes, so now we have Bill, Will, and Jill who have won their choice of a LiveScribe 3 Pen, iPad 2 Air, 16 gigabyte Wi-Fi only, iPhone 6 Plus, 16 gigabyte. And we will be in contact with you, if you don't contact us first. Thank you very much. Give me a high five. Say bye. Bye. Excellent. Go that way. Awesome. Good job. Thank you. All right. So Bill, Will, and Jill. Go figure. I don't know how that works, but it works. So maybe, man, that's pretty funny how the names rhyme and all that. Anyway, The whole point is I'm thank you guys for sharing and participating and definitely watching the videos, because the goal is to again, spread the information, and you guys assisted with that, and we figured it would be fun to reward you. So there we go. Awesome. They're like, man, I didn't win. Anybody sad? You're like, oh, I want to win. Well, stay tuned. You never know what we might have coming on. All right, let's get down to business. We have new episodes of the Cashflow Diary podcast, Mondays and Thursdays, 8 a.m. For those of you who have not yet subscribed, probably a good idea. Make that happen. And what we're going to do now is Linda, I promised her, she's actually part of our Raising Private Capital group, and she has questions on a 99-unit building, and this is kind of what we do. We do our best to take in the information, give you my best thoughts on what you need to do next and how to make this work so that you can go out there and make deals happen. So let's look at what we've got. Attached are the worksheets I made for the 99 unit to put an offer on. Congratulations for writing an offer. I'm just trying to figure out a model to bring investors to the deal like this. The first sheet shows trailing 12 of actuals. Awesome. The second sheet shows projections, including capital improvements. Fine. I'm trying to figure out how to structure and then bring in additional investors. Excellent. To buy out the 20% down payment from the funding group within 2 to 3 years if rents are within affordable guidelines. The funding group is willing to bring up to $1 million to loan, 94% occupancy at approximately 6% interest. In this scenario, I just went through 2 banks, looked at it, and they said they were open to the project, would bring the loan up to 75%, provided I could get someone to guarantee the loan. The funding group would bring 20%, and investors would bring 5% plus renovation costs. I had based my offer on the current net operating income at 7.5 cap rate. The offer they accepted was over $3 million, but he wouldn't tell me the actual winning offer amount. In this one, if they had taken my offering price of 2.7, my investors would have needed to bring 136 plus closing costs and promote fees, and I was budgeting 275 in capital improvements that would have also been brought by investors. I probably overestimated that, but I was going to firm up the numbers in due diligence. Excellent. So let's look at some of the numbers that she has here that are incredibly small. Let's see if we can increase that. Woo! Look at that. Did you see that? That just went huge. All right, so let's see if we can look at some of these numbers. We've got a gross potential rent income. That's kind of the number I wanted to look at. So we were around $600,000 a year, which is great. How many of you want a job that pays $600,000 a year? Raise your hand. That's right. That's what we're talking about here when we start looking at these things. All right, so let's go back to the words. Here's the first thing that I want to share with you guys is that, now we've got these. Now it's too big. There we go. So the first thing I want to share with you guys is that this real estate is a word problem. Life is a word problem. You remember in math class how you hated word problems? That's what it is. I mean, you walk up to an address and you go, okay, now what? And you've got to figure out what the word problem is. And then once you figure out the word problem, you're able to go from there to create an asset or a deal in some way, shape, or form. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these words, put it on the profit analysis quadrant, create the deal structure that she was talking about to be able to, what did she say, buy out the 20% down payment from the funding group within 2 to 3 years. So this is what we're going to talk about. All right. Jill wants the iPad. Awesome, Jill. Great. We will be in contact with you soon to make that happen. Excellent. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to highlight some things as it relates to the word problem that Linda is presenting to us so that you guys can see it, so that you understand exactly what I'm looking at. First and foremost, I just applaud her right now for putting in an offer. Period. That's the most important piece of all of the things that she said here. The most of the thing is that she actually wrote the offer. The second thing is to understand, for me, in this situation, I'm guessing she did way more due diligence before she wrote the offer than I ever do. I care about getting the offer accepted at the end of the day, and then I'm going to firm up, like she said, firm up the numbers during the due diligence piece. So I'm trying to figure out how to structure the deal, and let me make sure I'm very, very clear on this. When she says I'm trying to figure out how to structure the deal that'll allow her to bring additional investors in, that's a piece that I would do after I've interviewed a number of investors to understand what they want. I've said before, and I say it again, I've said it this definitely in our wholesaling class, is that you want to find houses for buyers, not buyers for houses. What does this mean in this case? Is that you want to understand what your marketplace would like to have and like to purchase ahead of time. That's what I want to know, and that's what I want you to know. I want you guys to know how to have houses for buyers as opposed to buyers for houses. And in this case, I want you to know how to have deals for investors as opposed to investors for deals. And at the end of the day, you want to go out there and know what the people who have the money are willing to purchase, and hopefully they are in alignment with your investor identity. So keep that in mind. So when it comes to the deal structure, the answers to the deal structure here rely in what it is it's going to be that the investors actually want long term. So I have to make a number of assumptions in order to get to that point in this particular case. So here's what we have. And in a sense, when you're putting together a deal with a value add play, you have a profit analysis quadrant of today, and then you have a PAQ of what tomorrow looks like. So you've got two that are really going on simultaneously. So keep that in mind. And as you guys already know, we've got quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got appreciation, depreciation, amortization, and cash flow. Same thing at the bottom. So what it comes down to in this particular case is that what we have is that, Linda, I need to know what the rent per unit, average rent per unit is on this particular building. So make sure. Let's see. Got it. So at the end of the day, what we're looking at here is she's got a value add play in one of the 5 types of appreciation. It looks like it's forced appreciation. It looks like the money is going to be made primarily inside of either lowering the expenses or increasing the income. Because remember, over here in the cash flow section, you have income minus expenses equals NOI minus debt service equals cash after debt service. Okay, so those are the numbers and things that we're paying attention to as we go around here in this particular case. So the 20% down payment, 2 to 3 years, the 20% down payment on $2.7 million, let's just do some math. And to make it easy, I'm going to call that, no, I'll just do 2.7 to 7 times 20%. So that's $540,000-ish. Let's call it $550. So she's bringing in $550 to loan for the balance. Let's call that $2.2 million. Or sorry, $2.2 million. And what we end up with is we've got 2.2 here. And we're going to end up contributing equity of 550. So I'm just putting that here so I know what the number is. It's obviously not our depreciation. And then we have the cash flow here, which is currently going to be one thing and it's going to be a new thing later. Same thing here. The loan is currently 2.2 and it's going to be a new thing later. The question becomes, what is the value of the building? Let's look and see if it's on the slides. What's the value of the building after? Oh my goodness, made it really small. All right, so let's see. Hopefully this is an after picture. Okay, hold on. One is 657, so I'm assuming this is the 657 is the new number because it's higher than the other number. 612 being the original number. So it's currently at 612, 671 versus 650, 600. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that as well. And that's what I'm looking at. At the end of the day, the net operating income is now what I'm looking for. Net operating income here is at 341, and then over here we at 204. So I've got a 204 here, and we've got a 341 here. Excellent. That makes it simpler. And then she said 7.5% cap rate. So all I'm doing is the math. Some of you are like, what is he doing? What is the math? You're gonna have to watch prior episodes. And if you don't have access to the prior episodes, click the link so that you can become a Cashflow Diary Founders member and you can have access to the prior episodes where we go through some of those maths. But for those of you who've been paying attention, you understand that what I'm about to do is I take the NOI divided by purchase price is going to give me the cap rate. So I'm gonna solve for the new purchase price here, because that's what I really wanna know right now. I'm gonna take 341,000, divide that by 7.5%, because that's what she was looking at, and that comes up to be about 4.5 million. All right, so let's say we started with 2.7 is what she had up here. The new NOI, we're looking at 4.5. What the question she's asking me is that 20% down payment, that $550,000 is what she's trying to get out. So the answer is going to be right here in a cash out refi at somewhere near, and it's got to be higher than 2.2, possibly even higher than 2.7, because she may want to get this 550 back as well. So let's see what 65% of this new 4.5 is times 0.65 equals, 0.65 equals, hold on, times 0.65 equals, there we go. So it's 2.95, let's call it 2.956, 2.95. So a 65%, a new 65% loan to value is going to give us 2.95 million. What does that mean? That means it's enough to cover this, it's enough to cover this, and the question is it, what's the next structure? Is it enough to cover the, what was it, 550? So this, it covers these two and the original 136 she was talking about here on the previous screen. Let me show you again. She was talking, now it's all big. So you have this 136,644 plus her closing costs, promote fees, et cetera, et cetera. So those numbers work. The question is what does she give to her investors? And honestly, Linda, it's up to you. You decide. You can structure. So if you're coming back at 2.95 and you're at 4.5, you have what? Let's call that $1.5 million. So how much of that $1.5 million are you willing to give away in order to be able to execute what you're saying? That deal structure could work for the person who's looking for growth. What about the person who's looking for tax deferral? I mean, we haven't even talked about that, but there's a lot of it here in this type of deal. So you can give away that in exchange for access and use of that $150,000 or $200,000 that you need to get that started. You can give away a portion of the cash flow. So the thing is that once you've got your deals on the profit analysis quadrant, you can decide what you're willing to offer in exchange for what you need. What you need is $150,000 or $200,000 plus the $550 from the funding group. Okay, so let's call that $750. That's what you need. So you've already chosen to give up for 2 to 3 years something to the funding group, and in this case it was 6% interest, etc. Awesome. The next thing is what you're going to give up here to the other investors. It's your choice. It doesn't have to be any one thing. It's always customized to what your investors want. And that's why the profit analysis quadrant is important, is because you don't know what the benefits are in your deal until you break down each little section and go, okay, cool. So I see what happens, and now that I see what happens, I can give this away or I can keep it. I can give this away or I can keep it, or I can give some of this away and keep this, or I can give a combination of this and this. And it's all about what is it that you need, Mr. Investor. So those are the things that are definitely there. Hopefully that helps and makes sense. Got it. The management is bad. Of course the management is bad. Does she have any more comments in there? That is the upside play. Left side is projected. Yep, I figured that out. So all of those things hopefully make sense to you from a standpoint. For those of you who have managed to make it into the multifamily group, this is a preview, if you will, of what we'll be doing. This is probably, 30,000 foot view. We're going to be breaking that down, splitting it apart, showing you step by step how to put this structure together. I just don't have enough time in this format to go through that, but that's what the multifamily group will be all about. And that's probably why we're getting lots of questions right now that are from apartment buildings. Oh, look, SEP's got a big building. Who's not shocked? Me. All right, so let's see. What else do we have here?
SEP has a 104 unit building. My friend is developing a multifamily project in downtown Cincinnati, and I found this skyscraper for sale nearby. Of course you did, SEP. You had to be looking. Who's looking for skyscrapers? SEP. I thought this type of property would cost $20 million. Okay, there are a lot of improvements being made to the neighborhood. How would you solve the occupancy problem, and how would you structure the deal? The first issue, okay, I don't even need to see the numbers, except I'm going to go to the same thing. I got to understand who this customer is. This is probably a Nordstrom apartment play at the end of the day. So you're going to solve the occupancy problem by understanding the customer. What does that customer need? What services do they want inside their living spaces, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? What is the competition of Nordstrom apartment style living doing in such a way to attract their customers to their store? I don't know, but you can find that out. Those are the things that I'm going to do. As far as structuring the deal, reference earlier example, it's going to be the same. Now, I'm going to put it on the profit analysis quadrant, find out the benefits that I have. Then I'm going to say, hey, who do I know that wants these benefits that I'm willing to give away? Because these are the ones I want to keep. And then I'm going to go out there and market those benefits and look for people who have those benefits if I don't already know them. That's what I'm going to do. That is the step-by-step process of what it comes down to. So no problem, Sep. Well, I'm sure you've got more, but that's the general overview of what needs to happen there. Let's see. Can you do, okay, Jeff, you discussed that offers are invitation for a conversation. That's true. So can you provide an example of an offer, since you have also mentioned that numbers are not important for the initial offer? Hope I understood you correctly. Correct. When it comes to an example of an offer, again, I'm going to do three things on the LOI. I'm going to start with a low all cash, and then I'm going to go to option number 3. And option number 3 is going to be, I bet you I still have this on this board, because I know I've answered, hey, look, my wife's been using this board. That's awesome. Let's see. There it is. So I'm going to have a low all cash offer. That's what that's supposed to say. And then I'm going to have this as a 100% seller financing offer. And then option number 2 is going to be a mix of the two. So it's going to be, this is going to be the format that I'm going to come up with based upon, again, the seller's needs. I need to understand the seller's needs and why do they want what they want in order to put these together. But once I understand those, that's what I'm going to use. Okay. So in a sense, I'm like I don't have a better example, but we've been having issues at home. So this is what's coming to my head is I'm like a glorified plumber. All right. See, now I don't want to be a plumber. However, if I was a plumber, I need to have many different tools, right? Imagine if I came to you were having a plumbing issue and the only thing I had in my toolbox was a plunger. Well, there's only a certain amount of, I can only go so far with that, right? Eventually, I might actually need an auger. And yes, I know what that is now, unfortunately. The point is, if I don't have multiple tools in my tool belt box, does plumbers have tool belts or do they have boxes? I don't know. In my van, if I don't have multiple tools available, what it comes down to is I can only serve certain people. So oftentimes as real estate investors, we know one trick. We become one trick pony and we know lease options. That's what I know how to use. Well, sometimes a lease option isn't the appropriate solution. So therefore, you're afraid to approach the deal from understanding the person's problems first. Could you imagine if a doctor only knew how to prescribe one medication? If that's the only thing he or she could prescribe, what would happen? How would that work really? I mean, how much business would they really do? They have to understand your needs first in order to prescribe a particular medication. Now, I'm not saying go out there and get all medicated or anything of that nature, but I think you get my example. If I only have one tool, this is why my approach always approaches from understanding the needs of your seller, the needs of your investor, the needs of your buyer. When you understand their needs, then you match the deal you're doing to their needs. Everything else becomes significantly simpler than what you've been doing and trying to, say, fit a square peg into that round hole. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's see. Question number 2, how do you confirm that the person you are negotiating with is the actual one in control of the property? How can you ask without deterring them? Honestly, Jeff, I don't care. Because what's going to happen is the person I'm negotiating with, when we get over to escrow, they're going to say, hey, this guy doesn't own the property and doesn't have the ability to blah, 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 blah. I want them to be the bad guy. I don't really care. So let's get a contract in and we'll get it all cleared up. And at that point, it becomes a negotiating chip if I have, if the case, in this particular case, if something like that were to happen. But it usually doesn't. Unless you're probably dealing with probate. If you're dealing with probate, that could probably happen a whole bunch. Because the personal representative doesn't necessarily want to or feels like they're capable of actually dealing with the issue against the big bad investor. Ooh, so keep that in mind. All right, so what in the world? Is there anything over there that I need to know about? Any chats? Okay, got it. Woo! How do you say that? Anybody? Svetin? Svetin. Excellent. That's what we'll call it. So what method or rule of thumb you suggest I have to practice in order to maintain my investor behavior balanced and avoid emotions and excitements to dictate the outcome of my investor decisions? Got it. Svetin, one of the first things that you're going to do is you're going to develop that's one of the parameters of the go, no-go decisions, the 1.5% times your total investment to give you the monthly income. That's a good way to start. But predefining your investor identity, as if you're going through the wholesaling course, we're talking about it. Review the first few videos where we talk about investor identity at depth so that you can be sure of what this is and try to see if things fit your identity. Don't try to fit them. I like the idea of finding properties for customers, not the other way around. I am not sure which of the following category to focus on. Is there a way to analyze the market in my area and determine the most appropriate target customers? The most appropriate target customers are actually the ones you know how to serve best. The ones that are usually most like you. So you need to find more of you, in my opinion. That's where you should start. So for example, if we are used to shopping at Walmart, we should serve Walmart customers. If we're used to shopping at Target, we should serve Target customers. If we're used to shopping at Nordstrom, we should serve Nordstrom customers, i.e. there are Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom areas all across the planet. And every place I've gone, when I've gone internationally, Estonia, Lithuania, it doesn't really matter. There's always these levels of living, standards everywhere you go in different neighborhoods. So find the people that you can relate to the most and easiest, and that will definitely help you. Number 3, it's very good comparison with the CD option. Besides the fact that we have an asset, what other advantages can we point out front of customers in order to convince them that the reward is worth the risk? Got it. At the end of the day, Svetin, we are never convincing anybody of anything. All right. They've got to be seeking. They've got to have a problem. They've got to have a problem, and we're there to solve it. For example, when you go to the doctor, he doesn't convince you that you have to take this medicine. He or she says, hey, take this, or you can have the generic or the branded, whichever you prefer. I mean, yeah, they care, but you don't have to take it. There's no rule that says this is there. I've never seen a doctor, and maybe I've just not had enough doctors, but I've never seen a doctor like jump up and down and say, you don't understand. You've got to take this one and blah, 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 blah. You're the one with the problem. Same thing with your buyer or seller. They're the one with the problem. So you can show them what the benefits are and ask them, would they like those benefits all day long? Some people do, some people don't. Some people are afraid. And those are the things where we become better professional salespersons to help them through those issues so that they can see, so that at least something like that doesn't prevent them, but we're not convincing them. If someone's scared and afraid and doesn't want to move forward, my only recommendation is you let them know that you see that they're scared and afraid, and understand that if they're willing to let that fear stop them and keep them in that present place, that's fine. Just free them from the insanity of hoping one day to have something different, so long as this fear is in the way. So hopefully that helps. Oh, Susan, okay, would you change that 3-part format depending on what you know about the seller situation? Example, seller needs 50% of price and cash to pay off family, so a low offer might insult. No, I'm never concerned. No, I would not change. No, I'm not going to change my format. Okay, so if she needs 50% of price in cash to pay off the family, great. Then the option number 1, it'll be 65%. It's still a low all cash offer, right? I'm not going to change that. So it doesn't change the format. Matthew, should I put out 2 different bandit signs? How do I signify that I'm looking for a seller and then a buyer? I'm thinking of putting out signs, hey, I buy ugly houses. Hopefully this will generate a few leads. Got it. Personally, I don't really, I want to keep my marketing as simple. I want to have as many people come into the funnel and then sort them. I don't want to sort them at the contact stage. I want to sort them after they're in the database. Okay, so keep it wide, then narrow before you start there. So otherwise, you've got to track which bandit signs is performing better, and good luck with that. That could be a challenge because you're going to have to run 2 different phone numbers and remember where you place the signs, and that's going to be a challenge in and of itself. As far as how do I signify that you're looking for a buyer or seller than a buyer, don't worry about that. That's why the question is, and again, if you've, some people, I know Tyler recently experienced this. He gets off from work and finally gets back to being able to produce some real estate results. And this is why I've taught the same question. The same question finds the sellers, the buyers, and your capital. It's, have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? I put it in my book, Cash Flow Diary, 10 Steps to Creating Wealth to Any Economy, which, by the way, the audiobook is now done. That's right, I said that. It's awesome. I'm excited. Anyway, here's my point. Same question reveals, when you learn to listen, 3 different people. Yeah, you could add, further niche down and say you're looking for sellers and buyers. That's fine. But you're building a business that's eventually going to need buyers. You're building a business that it sometimes needs sellers, and you're building a business that sometimes needs people for capital, no matter what it is. So I'd rather bring everybody together. And if you're having trouble finding one or the other, spread a wider net so you can be in front of more of those. Keep that in mind. All right, let's see. Tyler, I would like some tips on overcoming the objection in a wholesale deal when the seller accepts owner financing but only trusts me to make the payments and not my end buyer. Got it. Why not just keep the house? Sorry, I'm like, okay, why not just keep the house? So here's what that ends up looking like, Tyler. If you've got a situation like that and they only want to accept you, so now what ends up happening is that, again, on the profit analysis quadrant, what you have is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a situation in which you can divide up one of these quadrants in exchange for the other person's, you're now selling an equity interest in the project as opposed to selling the entire project. So say you wanted a $5,000 wholesale fee. Okay, cool. Instead of a $5,000 wholesale fee, what they do is they give a $5,000 down payment. And in exchange for that $5,000 down payment, maybe you give them a portion of one of the 5 types of appreciation, or you give them some of the depreciation, or you give them some of the amortization from the seller financing that you negotiated, or you split some of the cash flow. So therefore, there's still no money out of your pocket, but what ends up happening is that you now get to own a property instead. And now, if you don't want to own that property, completely different story, and you might want to then begin to explore what I would call a sandwich lease option. So what ends up happening is that you're going to end up taking the property, and again, are you beginning to hear why having multiple tools makes sense? See, this is one tool that I just described, being able to use an equity partnership, etc., to get the deal done. Now I'm talking about a sandwich lease option, which is completely different, but it still solves the same problem. So, and at the end of the day, he's not giving you an objection. He's telling you, under these conditions, I would be willing to sell it. That's not an objection. It's just not what you originally decided or what you originally hoped would come out from this particular transaction. So that's a perfect situation for many, many people. So that's what I would be looking at there. Whew. All right. Seb, Jay, do I need to have a commercial broker that specializes in Nordstrom clients for that skyscraper deal? I think you need a commercial property manager. That's going to be a completely different person in this particular case than what you may have been dealing with to make this work. The person I care about the most in any deal first, more than the broker, is the property manager. I want to know what the property manager thinks, because they're going to be my sales and customer service department. If they can't sell it, if they can't service the customer, then there's no deal, because I ain't doing the work. So that's the person I care about more than I care about the commercial broker. So hopefully there's no commercial brokers watching. Oh well. What's up? What's up? What's up? I have no idea. Got it. Yeah. All right. So, Marvin, I invested 20,000 with a couple of fix and flippers that I had known for approximately 1 year. The due date has come and gone. I live in Sacramento. I'm not even sure which property money was used for. I know. What are my next steps to get the loan dollars returned? Ew. What type of lawyer do I need if all else fails? Well, I guess, wow. Marvin, I'm not an attorney, but I understand your pain. I really, really do. One of the things that I am thinking about is that we need, so one of the things that's going through my head is that occasionally not every deal goes well. Not every deal goes like we hope, or not every deal goes anywhere near that what we would like it to be, and nonetheless. So at the end of the day, we need to have contingency plans, backup plans in place to make that work. So, man, see, here's where I'm torn. Getting an attorney involved costs money, and don't take this the wrong way. You quote unquote only have $20,000 quote unquote at risk. And I'm like, how much money is it going to cost to get an unsecured, because this is what this is sounding like an unsecured loan for 20 grand. It's going to cost you some money to get them quote unquote judgment, and then you've got to get it paid. So if you're still on amicable terms, I do my best to stay on those amicable terms and figure out, figure out, you know, whatever you can work out, so a trade in kind. What else can you take? Can you take a property? Something to figure this out, because it's not going to be that easy to make this work. So, sorry, Marvin. George, can you recommend any books or resources that I can research on this format? How can I overcome those days of procrastination? Yeah, learn what I call the speed of instruction, George, and move in the time frame known as now o'clock. At the end of the day, we all have great intentions, but we don't act on what it is that we know for whatever reason, and that could often be a problem. So just keep that in mind. Now, I'm not sure what topic or format you're referring to, unfortunately. So, George, if you're watching, you can be a little bit more specific. That'll help me get the question. Eric, excellent. When running this exercise in a business with other members or leaders, is it important to do this collectively as a group, or is this mainly an exercise for the individual? Eric, I hope you're watching, because I'm not sure what you're referring to. Is it possible to have pleasure without the pain? Got it. I think I'm getting it now. You can do this, and you can do those exercises. So inside our wholesale video course, part of what we talk about is the business plan structure, etc., how to do the exercises required, especially in what I call our cash flow foundations is one of our bonuses, so that it shows you how to put together the business plan. You can do this individually. You can do this collectively, a group. It could be a husband and wife team. And is it possible to have the pleasure without the pain? Probably not for most humans. Most of us are motivated more by pain. We would rather work to avoid the pain and then run, as opposed to running towards pleasure. How can I find time to receive and make phone calls when I'm working a full-time job during normal business hours? Well, Eric, let me put it this way. As far as quote-unquote finding time, you've already been given time. You have 24 hours every day. What we first must learn to look at is what I call pay time, and most importantly, how you're using the assets that you have. You have 86,400 seconds. Okay, how did you use them? Sometimes when we begin to track our time, we learn some interesting things. So here's a secret that I'm going to share with everybody that they could learn. Pomodoro, did I spell that right? Technique. Now, before I knew this name, this was what I would practice. I just didn't know that it had a name, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Am I online? It looks like I'm online, but it's not acting like I'm online. Well, I mean, I know you guys are broadcasting. I mean, is my website thingy. Is it working over there for you?
Yeah, it's working fine for me.
Of course it is. All right. So if we can figure out why my internet's not working, that'd be great. If not, I don't know. It was working just before we went live. It's the live gremlins at work again. But if you look up Pomodoro technique, Pomodoro technique, if I can get it to come up, that would be great. Pomodoro technique. Actually, I think I may know why it's not working. So, aha! Watch this. Watch it now work. Did it work? Of course it did. Pomodoro technique. There we go. So this is a technique that helps you begin to better manage the asset you do have, which is time, 86,400 seconds, so that you have the ability to go out there and know, where did my time go? How can I be more effective? I used it before I knew the name. What I would say is you set a timer every 15 minutes just to remind you to get back on track, period. Just to remind you to get back on track at the end of the day. You have the time. What we have to do is we have to make time for the things that we consider to be important, i.e. it's an issue of priority. You have other things that you've currently put in priority, which is why you don't have, quote unquote, leftover time in order to make this work. Time doesn't suddenly magically appear for anybody. We have to prioritize what we can get done and what's most important. Pretend you're only going to live so long. See, that should be easy to pretend, right? So therefore, you're only going to be able to do certain things. And therefore, the things that you do today need to be the most important things that you do. It doesn't just happen. It has to be an intentional creation of space. And if you don't do that, it's going to be tough to make it work. All right, Chase. Welcome, Chase. I just started the Wholesale Mastermind video course and I had a question about the homework at the end of action plan number 1. When finding 10 properties, what criteria do we use for the investor's down payment amount? Don't care. How do you determine what the actual property rents for? Go to rentometer.com. Let me flip that over. Rentometer.com. So when you go to rentometer.com, you're going to put in the address, the rent per month in the bedrooms. Who would I use Rentometer to determine what a similar property? Would I use Rentometer to determine what a similar property would rent for? Yeah, absolutely. As long as it's near the same address. That's exactly what you're going to do. As far as what criteria do you use for the investor down payment amount? Don't worry about the down payment amount right now. What's important is that you learn to identify go, no-go decisions. The go, no-go decisions are simply the 1.5% rule and making sure that rent divided by 4 produces enough cash flow. That's all you need to know at this moment. And when you find 10 properties that fit the model of the person that you want to serve, that's what I'm looking for there, Chase. So good job. By the way, I'm excited to hear that Chase, he did just join. I remember talking to him. For those of you who don't know, I'll be at an event on November 13th in Orange County. I'm looking forward to meeting Chase there, and some of you, I'm sure, where I'll be speaking. And that's what Chase and I were talking about as well. So it's good. Woo! Awesome. Let's see. I am Stuart. I'm looking to raise private capital to start up a hard money loan company again. Okay. I had one in the 90s, Fox Financial. I can imagine what that logo looked like. That fell apart years after starting. We had $7 million out in loans and had partnership problems that caused the shutdown. Okay. In 1998, I started flipping homes full time and bought a lot of rentals. Okay, all of this disappeared during the real estate bust. I've started flipping homes again, but my real passion is to get into hard money lending again. Interesting. Which I'm very good at. I also want to build up a portfolio of income producing properties that have rental income of $50 per month by my 50th birthday in 7 years. I hope you can help me achieve this. I can. Of course. I don't even know what's the question. Did I miss the question? I didn't miss the question. Okay, so so Stuart, great, do it. We have resources in the Raising Private Capital department, so you can go over to cashflowdiary.com, or sorry, YouTube.com, and then just type in raising private capital. You'll see a video for about raising private capital. Where'd it go? There it is, raising private capital. So you have the ability to watch this video, which is, again, if you haven't had enough of me, here's 97 more minutes of me showing you how to raise private capital. If that's of interest to you, you can go do that. And if you'd like to join our Raising Private Capital group, there's a link there for you to do so. And then, whoop, wrong one. There we go. And as far as building up the income producing properties, that's why we just started our multifamily group. You go to cashflowdiary.com/multifamily. Is it 2014? Is that right? No, that's not right. Slash multifamily. That's right. I'm like, what did I do wrong? And you'll be able to register yourself here to be able to get some complimentary videos, as well as an ebook on the subject that could begin to help you answer. Like, we've got the most common 14 questions as it relates to finding and funding and sourcing multifamily deals, making sure you can manage them properly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully that'll help you for sure. Man, lots of good questions today. Guest 4602, what other real estate business books do you read besides yours and the ones on your site with Amazon links? Well, that's pretty interesting. Amazon links. You want ones without Amazon links? Why does Amazon links matter? We make like 0.2 cents for every one. If I had a different, easier way to offer you the book, I wouldn't have Amazon links there. The other books that I read, the ones that make it on our website are the ones that I recommend, I guess is the simple way of reading it, because I think those are the helpful ones. I mean, there are other books that don't make the quote-unquote cut, per se, and I mean, you can read them if you'd like. I'm trying to think of one that's not there. I don't think Atlas Shrugged is on that list. That doesn't mean it's not good, it's just not on the list because it's a thick book, but it is definitely important to understand. So I can't really think of anything that's not on the list at this particular moment, unfortunately. Sorry. Does guess 4410? Does the rent divided divided by 1 point work in every market, or do we need to adjust accordingly? Got it. I want, now understand, I didn't say rent, I said income. And if I said rent, I misspoke. It's income divided by 1.5%. That's the qualification for my go, no-go decision. And it doesn't work in every market. That's the point. I'm not trying to make my requirements fit a marketplace. I'm looking for marketplaces that fit my requirements. So if it doesn't work in that market, I'm going to keep going until I find a market where it works. So keep that in mind. I'm not trying to go, oh, well, the 1.5%, I can't find anything in this market, so we have to do one. Okay, that for me, that's a no-go on the marketplace, not, oh, well, I need to adjust my number. Hopefully that makes sense. Carlos, I'm willing to do what it takes to learn. Yay! Surround myself with investors like Jay, attend seminars, read ebooks, subscribe to blogs, and above all, change my mindset. I thank you, Mr. Massey. This is a good way to get your name out on the show. I thank you, Mr. Massey, for being so genuine and caring and offering so many resources for ambitious people like myself and other investors willing to anything, I think he missed a word, to help change the world for the better. I'm determined to do what it takes. I'm not afraid to be an apprentice, to acquire more knowledge and learn from my mistakes. I have great visions, and this ebooks will supplement my goals. Thank you again. You're welcome, Carlos. Awesome. I've said it before. I say it again. You do your first deals for experience, not profit, and then later you get to profit from your experience. And Carlos, it sounds like you're well on your way. Good Lord, there's still more questions here. Okay, Susan Snook, just want to double check my numbers. Here, a 7-unit apartment building, $3,750 a month. Income times 12, 45 a year, 45 a year divided by 2, and that makes 2250. That sounds right so far, 22,500. Then 22 divided by NOI divided by purchase price of 329. Yes, got it. I hear where you're going. A cap point 6.8. Yeah, that sounds exactly right. So, all right. Okay, so Rodney, my goal is to start wholesaling using minimal financing, that's the whole point, so that I may learn the fundamentals of real estate while picking up marketing skills that will help me down the line when I pursue flipping. Okay, makes sense. And buy and hold. My question is, what are the exact steps to start and finish on how the wholesale process works? And once I complete my first few deals, how can I set up systems to run the business without doing everything? Rodney, the simplest answer, the most complete answer I can give you is a free workshop, webinar that will explain that to you. You can go to cashflowdiary.com/workshop. It'll look very similar to this page right here. Okay. And then you're just going to right here. So it looks like the next one is Wednesday, 2 Eastern. So that way you can begin to go ahead and register name, email, first name, last name, email, register for the webinar, totally complimentary, 60 minutes of great information. I will also show you how I did 11 deals in a week in this particular sense, again, using minimal financing. And I got this thing down to 5 sheets of paper, to be able to produce a wholesale transaction. It was pretty cool. So keep that in mind. All right, we have another live question. I am trying to find my first job, and I am thinking, what is the best way to handle my paychecks when I get it, since I've never had a job before? Should I spend them or save them? Okay, Swaggy, interesting name there, love it. What it comes down to is you got to cover your expenses, obviously. The question is you've got to define, instead of wondering about what to do with the money, the question is what is the goal? What do you want to accomplish? You've got to think about this. So here, answer this question. If money wasn't an object, what would you want to be? Who would you want to be? What would you want to do? And what would you like to have if money were no object? And that'll begin to help you formulate some goals. For those of you who participate in any of our bonus material, cash flow foundations, etc., you understand exactly where that's going. That'll dictate some of the things that you need to do. There's probably a certain percentage of amount of that information that money that you do need to save, you do need to use. One of the things that I will say is jar system is, let me see if this is a good one. Yep, there you go. So what happened? It was just there. There's a photo I was looking for. Visit page, view image. And see if I can make this image bigger. There you go. So here's a very similar template of what I've seen before in terms of a jar system if you're looking for places for your money to go. So you take your income, and as you see there, 55% goes towards those living expenses, 10% towards that financial freedom, 10% towards savings, 10% towards education, 10% towards play, and 5% towards donation. Now, for me, I would adjust that percentage. I would do 50% living expenses and 10% towards donations, but everything else seems about right. So keep that in mind. All right. Tyler, regarding the 1.5 test, is that based upon the current income of the property or what the income should be? I would base that upon the income or the play that I am going to do at the end of the day. That's what I'm looking at. What the current income is great, unless the only time I'm ever going to look at the current income and base it on that is if I don't plan on doing anything else to it. But you guys know me, that's never the case. I'm always going to monkey with something, right? Got to lower the expenses, raise the something. I got to do something. So that 1.5 test is based upon what you and your brain and your team come up with to be able to make that work. Chad, I'm still in college and looking to gain as much knowledge about real estate investing before I graduate and get married next year as I can. So Chad, here's, again, you've heard reference to it from, I think it was Carlos. We do our best to produce a number of complementary materials. Obviously, you can go to our website here, cashflowdiary.com. You can see that we have a podcast, right? We have events. We have a lot of these things, again, are absolutely complimentary so that you have the ability to go ahead and take advantage of them in various forms. All right, okay. Whew. All right, let me get Chase's question here. I'm just not going to be able to get to the rest of them. Chase, I understand that the first formula, purchase price times, however, I'm confused. I thought that the second formula was NOI divided by debt service. My question would be, what do you consider the debt service? The debt service is simply the mortgage payment is another way. Debt service is a fancy term for the word mortgage payment. NOI divided by debt service gives you what is known as the debt service coverage ratio. And you're looking for, and again, from rough numbers, I like that number to be 2 or better, which is significantly conservative, as some of you know. So that's what debt service is. Debt service is actually the amount of money going to the mortgagee, or no, mortgage, yeah, the mortgagee, because you're the mortgagor, if I think that's correct, that you're paying the bank or the lender in some cases, and that's what I'm talking about. So, Tyler, awesome, writing an offer tonight, excellent. Write 2, 1 for me, just for fun. That'd be great. Oh my goodness, guys, lots of good questions today. Again, just remind everybody, we've got new episodes released Monday and Thursday on the podcast, 8 a.m. Pacific time, cashflowdiarypodcast.com. If you want, in fact, a sample of the audiobook, you're like, maybe not, I don't know. If you listen to episode 114 that was posted, I think this was Monday's episode, that's exactly what I did. I gave you a sample of the audiobook so that you could listen to it as you'd like to and go out there and make some cool and great things happen. Awesome, guys. I definitely appreciate your time. Hopefully I was able to be of some assistance to you in some way, shape, or form. It's been fun talking to you guys again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for doing the things that you're doing to go out there and change your life and your family's financial future. It's been fun talking to you. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Until next time.